for me to welcome you here to King's College London this afternoon, and to the several hundred people also who are following this event online. My name is Adam Sutcliffe. I teach in the history department here at King's, and this is the third time that I've worked with the British Palestine Project, or as it was known until recently, the Balfour Project, to host a large-scale conference here at King's about the need for a just peace in the Middle East. And we started planning this event and penciled it in for June back in the early autumn of next year, when we of course had no idea what reality on the ground in Palestine we would be facing at this point. But few of us, I think, certainly myself, imagined that it would be anything near as catastrophic as it is now. As I imagine all of you know all too well, Israel has now, for more than 2 months, held Gaza under a total blockade, which is having a devastating impact. As a senior UN spokesman put it the other day, Gazans desperately need food. They need water. They're getting bombs. They need healthcare. They're getting bombs. And Israel is planning far worse. Many of us felt we knew this already for quite some time, but it couldn't be clearer now than it has become over the since last weekend. On Tuesday, the finance minister of Israel, Bezalel Smotrich, stated that, quote, Gaza will be entirely destroyed. And meanwhile, for other Palestinians, the killing, the destruction, the Gazification of the West Bank has been accelerating. So in the face of this horror, a conference might well feel inadequate. But we are here today not only to learn about the situation, but also to think together about what we can do about it, especially by raising our voices and sharpening our message to the British government just a mile or so down the road from where we are right now at King's. And our focus this afternoon will be on the rule of law and on the principles of justice that lie behind international law. These principles, I would say, have also been under assault over the past 19 months. But appeals to the law have also been an important source of hope, and I'm thinking here centrally, most notably, about the genocide case brought by South Africa against Israel to the International Court of Justice. So we'll hear this afternoon from a wide range of legal and other experts, and we'll learn a great deal about the importance of law in pushing towards an end to the current atrocities and towards a just peace for Palestinians and for everybody in the region. This conference is also important because it has not always been easy in this country to discuss the situation in Palestine freely and honestly. Much of my own research is on Jewish history, including the history of anti-Semitism, and I've been extremely disturbed by the ways in which tendentious definitions and accusations of anti-Semitism have been used to create a climate in this country and in many other countries in which many people are hesitant to speak out against Israeli actions. And in the face of what is happening now, I think that is not only wrong, it's obscene. And those pressures have most certainly been felt on British university campuses, and I'm therefore particularly grateful to my own employer, to King's College London, for unhesitatingly agreeing to welcome us here yet again at King's. And I'd also like to thank many, many colleagues behind the scenes, or semi-behind the scenes, here at King's, and with the British Palestine Project, indeed, who are playing very important roles in making today run smoothly in security, events planning, catering, audiovisual, and other areas. Before I hand over to more important matters, just a few housekeeping matters I have to cover. If you hear the fire alarm, that probably means there is a fire. There is no drill planned for today, so please exit calmly but swiftly to the nearest exit. There are 2 exits to this room, the one that most of you entered through on that side, but also on the other side, out into the corridor, and then, unless you're directed otherwise, head to your right, and then out into the courtyard on your left, where the staircases are. There are toilet facilities next door to this room to the left. There are more toilet facilities, larger ones, in the main atrium to your right from here under the grand staircase. Gents on one side, ladies on the other side. At the end of some sessions, not all, but some sessions, there will be time for questions from the floor. Please keep any questions to questions genuinely, no speeches, and please be brief and also courteous. We will absolutely not tolerate any unpleasant or disruptive behaviour. I have high confidence there won't be any such behaviour, but we do have security present throughout the afternoon, and anyone heading in that direction will be removed from the building. So, welcome again to this very important afternoon. I'd now like to hand over to Andrew Whitley, who is chair of the Trustees of the Britain-Palestine Conference. You can read more about him and all our speakers in the programme that you have. But briefly, he, in his career, has held very important roles in Human Rights Watch and also with UNRWA. So he's going to say a little bit more about why we are here and then introduce our first speaker. Andrew.
Thank you very much, Adam. And let me add our thanks on behalf of the Britain-Palestine Project to you at King's. Now, it appears that the mic is not on. Maybe should I be speaking from that
Let's
one?
just try, sorry, let's try this a little bit.
Okay, let's try that again. Can you hear me at the back better? Fine. So let me first of all add my thanks to those of Adam Sutcliffe, to everyone for having accepted our invitation, particularly to our speakers, some of whom have travelled a long distance to be able to come here. Thanks to King's College London for once again being an excellent partner for us at the Britain-Palestine Project. And above all, thanks to you, our faithful supporters who have been with us. It's a growing band of supporters, I'm happy to say, and I really do feel that as an organisation, we're moving in the right direction at the right time. Adam made brief reference to our name change, which took place a few months ago. And you may need a short explanation, there won't be a long one, as to why we decided to change. We were known as the Balfour Project for many years. That was a name that created some misunderstandings. It reflected our original commitment to addressing with the double promises, the contradictions of the Balfour Declaration, and of the need for British responsibility to be able to address the plight of the Palestinians. But it also created misunderstandings. Hence our decision to change the name to the Britain-Palestine Project, which says very clearly what it is that we do. And I'd like to play a very short clip now from the relaunch of the organisation in the House of Lords, when no less than Nicholas Soames, Lord Soames, Winston Churchill's grandson, had this to say.
British recognition of Palestine as a state is both morally right and firmly in our national interest. Recognising Palestinian statehood is not in any way anti-Israel. It simply affirms the equal rights of both Palestinians and Israelis. The United Kingdom was a midwife at the birth of Israel, and as a permanent member of the UN Security Council, we must now lead international efforts on this vital issue.
I think you would agree that Lord Soames put it well. We need Britain to step up to the plate at this particular time. As most people in this room will know, we have three planks to our work. One is history, acting to be able to ensure that the history of Britain's role in the mandate period and subsequently is well known and accurate. Second is education, public education broadly, but also education in schools. And thirdly, and today most urgently, political advocacy. Advocacy to ensure that our government does the right thing and to inform parliamentarians and others in a position of influence that there really is a special responsibility that falls on Britain to be able to act. So why are we here today? We're here because Palestinians are facing an existential threat. It's a threat to them as a people and a threat to them as a nation and to their prospects of being able one day to be able to exercise self-determination and have their own freedoms. This threat is not exclusive to Gaza. It is most dramatic in Gaza today, but we should not overlook what's taking place in the West Bank, where ethnic cleansing and apartheid are the issues of the day. We're meeting today on what in Britain is known as VE Day, the 80th anniversary of the end of the war against fascism, totalitarianism in Europe. Unfortunately, it is not something that is going to be celebrated in the Middle East, where war is continuing on a scale that is unprecedented, at least as far as the Palestinians are concerned, and where the striking contrast between rules that are applied to Europe and those that are applied to Palestine is glaringly obvious to everyone. For me, one of the most upsetting things is the gap between the public rhetoric and the realities on the ground, and the inability to be able to recognize the realities on the ground for what they are, and to be able to see that these are urgent times demanding urgent messages and urgent measures, not messages, but measures that will actually respond and be appropriate to the situation and not mere hand-wringing. There is clearly a blatant disregard on the part of Israel for international law, for treaties, for the governing conduct of warfare, and for the protection of civilians, the treatment of prisoners. We should not forget the Israeli hostages who still languish, but equally we should remember that there have been many thousands of Palestinians arbitrarily detained by Israel, mistreated in jail, in their places of custody, and subjected to a great deal of mistreatment. So there is a need, clearly, to restore respect for the rule of law, and that's why we're here today, to be able to hear from distinguished experts who will tell us what the laws should be that we are attempting to uphold, and what needs to be done in order to be able to ensure greater respect for it. You have in front of you an action points that we have drawn up before the conference. Please have a look at those. There is no need to comment on them now, but we would be interested in your feedback. We as an organization are keen to hear from you about what you think should be done. High on our own list of things that need to be done is, of course, something that the Britain-Palestine Project, and before that the Balfour Project, has long called for, and that is recognition of Palestine, not at some date in the future, but right now, immediately, unconditionally. So that is one of our principal demands, and I have no doubt that our next speaker, His Excellency Husam Zomlot, Ambassador of Palestine to the United Kingdom, is going to address. I would like now to give the floor to Husam, who I think would prefer to speak from where he is at the moment. It's up to you. Thank you.
Well, honorable members of the House of Lords, Baroness Kennedy, of course, our friend, and all the distinguished friends and audience. Yeah, what a energetic.
Is the microphone working?
Oh, it's not working. Even this not working. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Is it? Should I stand? Is it better if I stand?
Speak less for
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So maybe. So good morning, good afternoon. I should have said good afternoon, all. What a pleasure and honor for me to be with you today, and the thanks are definitely to the Britain-Palestine project. Andrew and the team, Diana, the good work you have brought together for this to happen. And Vincent, my friend, for all that you have done over the years, for founding this very important institution, for devoting your life, your entire life, for the cause of justice and Palestine. I salute you today for bringing all of us together. And of course, I am very privileged to be among a list of speakers that they make them no better nowadays, and they can be, and they are the best voices for Palestine. And the list is long, and I'm touched to see so many. But number one is my neighbor in Gaza, Mr. Raji Surani, who has been the voice of Gaza and the voice of Palestine for years and decades, and we are so touched to see him here. Dr. Dalal Ariqat, who represents the best Palestine can offer. And we are so proud of her achievement and her family and what she has been able to convey to the world on behalf of her people. Thank you for traveling here and being with us. And I'm really sorry, Victor, you are a local here, but we are also proud of Victor Kattan. And the list of speakers here is a long list of very impressive experts, specialists, lawyers, human rights specialists. So let me get to it. We live in difficult times. Those are very difficult times. On the one hand, in Palestine, and as you said, Andrew, Gaza is going through what humanity has been describing as the worst chapter of human history. To normalize the mass murder of children, more than 15,000, not to mention the orphans, the unaccompanied, those who are still under rubble, the amputees. Gaza now is home to the biggest cohort of children amputees on earth. Not to mention the normalization of the use of food, starvation, mass starvation of the entire population, in real time in front of the eyes of the world. And you all know what is happening in Gaza. We have called it from day one a genocide, and it is a genocide, without playing with words. It is targeting a group of people for who they are. And it is the use of food, water, medicine, what have you, for the purpose of and the goal of extermination, annihilation of that group. There is no other term to describe what is happening in Gaza except genocide. We leave it to the experts, but once the International Court of Justice, that is the highest world court, says already in January last year, that's a year and 4 months, 5 months, that the case brought by South Africa against Israel for the crime of genocide is plausible and has placed Israel officially on trial for genocide. In my opinion, the conversation should have been over. But still, we see many politicians trying to cover up for this particular, the crime of all crimes. Because, and what you said, Andrew, is very important. What is happening in the West Bank is not less significant, existential. And I was in the West Bank recently, and what I saw was, even to a person like myself who lived in the West Bank for many, many years.
We can't hear you.
Before.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
it's so important what you're saying.
There is an issue with the mic. I don't understand what is exactly the issue. Should I speak closer like this? Okay, I'm sorry. Apologies. And the situation in the West Bank is as existentially threatening to us, the Palestinian people. I was there in the West Bank recently, and what I saw was rather unthinkable in every sense. And you are right, Andrew, there is less attention being paid to what is happening all over the West Bank. But it is the same playbook, it is the same toolkit, it is ethnic cleansing, it is displacement of people, it is targeting of entire communities. You may have followed what happened in Jenin, in Tulkarem. It shocked me how much the settlement enterprise in the West Bank has become the core, the urban centers, rather than the periphery, the entire infrastructure, and you can see what is being executed in front of our eyes. And Jerusalem has been completely and utterly carved out, totally carved out of the Palestinian equation. But difficult times is not just in Palestine, difficult times for the rest of the world. The international order we built together after the horrors of the Second World War no longer exists. We are seeing the new order that relies on power. It reminds us of the 30s. It's exactly that moment. And you see conflicts popping up everywhere, and you may be following what happened between India and Pakistan only recently. And our inability to resolve any issues, in fact, now it is primarily the rule of the jungle. But I would want to focus in the few minutes on the UK. And I have three observations to make. The first, there has been a considerable, real, unprecedented, serious change in the British public opinion over the last few years. Very real, thanks to you. And thanks to generations of real work. But unfortunately, also thanks to the blood of our children, of our people. That finally, the news is reaching. Finally, people are realizing. But the change in the public opinion is very real, that you have seen London has become the epicenter of global solidarity with Palestine. To have a march in one day in the city of London of 1 million Britons, that is historic. Historic. But it continued. This is not just the largest, but the largest and the longest solidarity movement in the UK in recent history. The second observation, this has started rippling, factoring, affecting the political arena. We've seen that in the last elections, and we've seen that in the parliament. There's a new parliament, there is a lot of support, serious, organized support, and whenever you go to the parliament, whenever there is a question time, I'm sure all of you are following the both numbers and intensity of pressure on the third observation, which is still, it did not reach fully the official / government side that we need to work towards. There has been some steps taken by the current government, the Labour government. Number one is calling for a ceasefire, having failed to do so at the beginning, so that's your first action. Number two, supporting UNRWA under all the attacks. Number three, removing the previous intervention at the ICC and declaring that they respect the independence of the ICC. Number four, announcing the suspension of some arms sales to Israel, and they said that those are the ones that are used in offensive mode in Gaza. Number five, imposing some sanctions on the settlements and the organizations that support settlements. And you may have followed last week, we have received the Palestinian Prime Minister here and some ministerial delegation, met the British Prime Minister. We signed a memorandum of understanding. I invite all of you to read it, please. It's online. The government here published it. And the first side of that, the first item of that memorandum of understanding is the UK commitment to international law, to multilateralism, to international judicial system. Now, all of these items, the UK has been half committed, and there is a lot to be done. And I want to end by talking about one item that I'm sure much of the work is going to be towards it, which is the recognition of the State of Palestine. If you allow me 1 minute, please. This is the key point. The recognition of the State of Palestine, number one, is a right, not a gift. And it is separate of any other consideration. This is an inalienable right of the Palestinian people. We should not discuss with it anything else, and it's long overdue. Number two, we must remove the last 30 years of a veto power that Israel enjoyed over Palestinian statehood. Israel has got nothing to do with the world's recognition of a state of Palestine. And the whole idea that we should recognize within a peace process means that Israel has the ultimate veto power. We must remove that. Number three, it is a historic step by the UK for the reasons that the Balfour project started by the name of the Balfour project. This is not any other recognition. This is Britain. This is the UK. And I don't have time to go through history. But the Balfour Declaration canceled the Palestinian people. And therefore, a recognition by Britain is the uncancellation of the Palestinian people. It is very significant. And lastly, nobody thinks that recognition will just bring about everything and we will realize a final resolution. Recognition is a first step. It's a first step, but it is a fundamental first step. Without it, we cannot go to the next steps. And the next steps must be garnering sufficient British and international support to end the occupation. These are the two requirements for the two-state solution. Not a peace process, not negotiating freedom out of occupation. The first is recognition, the second is ending occupation. To end occupation, we need to enforce international law at full. Number one, we need a full arms embargo, And we are in discussion with the government about that. And there is a lot of pressure in that direction. Number two, we need a full sanctions on the ecosystem of the settlements and the state that sponsors these settlements. Number three, we do need the full commitment of the UK in the side of accountability. Not just the ICC, but the ICJ. While we were signing that memorandum of understanding, the UK ambassador to the ICJ, the representative at the ICJ, objected to the process of deliberating at the ICJ, the humanitarian, the last week, and the UNRWA situation. And so while we commit to internationalism, still there are points that we need to make sure that the government here adheres to and helps with us. We have June coming. You are all aware about the French-Saudi initiative. We believe this is a very important opportunity. We're working with our friends here to try and make sure that the UK leads, not follows, and that the UK becomes part of the solution, given the history, and that at this moment it will carry the recognition of the United Kingdom to the state of Palestine. We are not there yet. There is a lot of work to be done, but I'm here to salute all of you and to thank all of you for doing this work together. They want us to believe that we are still far behind, but I assure you, as far as the UK is concerned, as far as the public opinion, as far as your work and the work of many organizations, we are almost there in all these items. It's just the last push. So keep going. Shukran jazilan. Thank you very much.